But today, we've got Rosa Fox, the Huron Town Historian, and Gene Bavis, the Walworth Town Historian, who are the Bicentennial Committee co-chairs, and we're really proud of all they've done to promote the Bicentennial this year. It's just mind-boggling.
Yes.
So, thank you.
I think mind-boggling might be the understatement of the day. I know my brain has gone all sorts of different
Mine
directions.
went a long time ago.
We actually been working at this since November of 2018. Chris, were you at that first brainstorming meeting?
I think yes, it
Over
was.
at the
Yeah.
Public Safety Building?
Yep, yes.
We have an organization called WHO, Wayne Historians Organization. We meet 6 times a year, and we've been doing this over 20 years. And so the historians and historical society representatives pretty much all know each other. And so we were chit-chatting back in 2018 about, 2023 sounds like a long ways away, but it really will be here before we know it. And here it is. So we decided we'd start talking about it. And by April of 2019, the Wayne County Board of Supervisors appointed myself and Larry Ann Evans to head up a committee to get this ball rolling. And so we did. Rosa was one of our first picks to be on the committee because she's a go-getter. And, you probably know that Larry Ann Evans passed away in December of 2020. And at that point, I asked the Board of Supervisors that Rosa could step up as the co-chair, and she agreed to do that, and they agreed to appoint her, so here we are. All right, let's get going. One of the very first things we did was to create a brochure. Well, after we created a logo, we had the logo, which is pretty similar to the Wayne County logo, modified a little bit to include Bicentennial. But this brochure, because, you would think that anybody who lives in Wayne County would know their way around. That isn't so. So we wanted to make sure that they knew where all the towns were in the major, settlements, hamlets and villages. So we just put that map in there, and then we talked about some of the interesting things that we have around Wayne County. And pointed out that we have a historic sites database with, at that time, over 1,000, but now it's got over 1,200 sites in it. The other thing we did early on was to create some rack cards. We decided, because we borrowed an idea from the Tompkins County, they did a brochure for each of the towns and cities in Tompkins County. We thought that might be a little too complicated, so we just did a 2-sided rack card. And on each rack card, we put the map.
It doesn't.
Doesn't work on TV. I'll use my finger. We put the little map to show, this happens to be a town of Rose, when on the Arcadia card, that would be colored in instead. So, basically, the founding of that particular town, who it was named after, a little bit of couple of historical comments on the back, a couple of individuals who are of importance. In this case, it was a husband and wife. And then we started doing topical cards. One of the earlier ones we did was this cobblestone masonry one. And you all know we have a lot of cobblestones around Wayne County, right? Did you know that we have 20% of all the cobblestone structures in the world? 20% in the world are here in Wayne County. Some of them are gone now. We had over 200 at one point. We're down probably in the 180s, 190s now. Some of them have not been maintained and they're falling down. Or they burned and they tore them down. Rosa came up with the idea that we needed to have a little slogan. We haven't done your bumper sticker yet.
No, we haven't.
We gotta get it
We've got other things we gotta get done first.
Before the gala.
Okay.
she came up with the idea that we needed a slogan. We do have a little bit of apple growing going on around here. Number 1 in New York State, number 3 in the nation. So we had to incorporate an apple. Wayne County is historic to the core. And in all our publicity, we are focusing on, we want people to explore, discover, visit, and celebrate with us as we recognize this 200th anniversary. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram, we have a website. Our website picture is a little out of date. If you looked at it today, it would say 9 days and X number of hours before the kickoff on April 11th. But here you see a bunch of pages you can go to. Click on Bicentennial events and it will bring up 3 or 4 of them. Then you can click on them and it gives you all the details that you need to know. The Facebook page is linked somewhere down here, I think. And so if you want to go to the Facebook page, you click there. You want to go to the Instagram account, you can click there.
What's the address of that website?
Oh yes, we need to teach you something, and we're going to repeat this a couple of times. Wayne County 200.com. Ready? Wayne County 200.com. Easy
Remember
peasy.
that, you'll be tested.
Back in 1973, we did some signs. I happen to know that because I was co-chair of that one too. I'm not doing the next one. This time we decided to do a little nicer sign, and very colorful, and there's 40 or 50 of those up around the county. For 2 or 3 years, we were doing monthly or every other month newsletters. They can be found on our website, which is
WayneCounty200.com.
all right. Good.
This is a good group.
They are,
All one word.
and yes, all one word, no spaces. Now we're doing through the miracles of constant contact email distribution systems. Christine Worth from Tourism is blasting out more than once a month what's coming up stuff. We ask each town supervisor and historian to work together to create some town committees, and we have a few of them functioning. The town committees are helping us get the word out, and as are the historical societies and historians. But this particular group of people were over at the Wolcott Farmers Market, set up a table to promote the Bicentennial. This was a couple years ago. Promote the Bicentennial and their own historical society, which we thought was appropriate because our goal is to get people interested in our history and heritage. Oh, wasn't that clever? We built a float. How many of you have seen it? You gotta get out more. It's been in parades. The first parade, with Rosa and I leading it, was May 31st of 2021. The float was created by these two guys, Huron Town Supervisor Phil Eigner and Dick Lasher, who was the Rose Town Supervisor. Dick goes out to that place called Pasadena, California, where they have a little parade every now and then.
Oh, every now and then.
And he builds floats out there.
Oh.
So he knows a little bit about float building. So,
Well, in fact, last year was his last year going out, and his float that he was in charge of won the Past President's Award out there. So his floats are
yeah, and his float won this in the Walworth Parade a couple years ago. Last year I told him not to judge it because I didn't want to take it away from the Walworth people. We have this calendar that Chris and Lorraine Jorgensen put together. You wanna hold that up, Vanna?
Yay.
They got Vanna Davis back there. And if you haven't already bought one of those, you need one. It's got about 800 historical facts on each day of the year for 2 years. The early part is before 1923, the last half is after 1923, and there's about 300 pictures. It's cool. It's not where you keep your doctor's appointments, folks. Karen Devlin, the Mariontown historian, put this together for us with the help of historians and others. And it's 60 pages long. We have some copies around if you'd like one. They were printed with county money and have been distributed the last 2 years to the 4th graders in Wayne County in all the schools. So it's a cool little book. And it's available online too. So you can download the whole thing or just print out a page or two if you like. You know, like there's a nice little word search or crossword puzzle, or you got grandkids that want to color a page, you can print that out and say, here, color this. And maybe they'll learn some history too. Bruce Farrington, former Sodas Point historian, came up with an idea that we ought to do these, what he called bicentennial minutes. He lied. Every one is at least 2 minutes long and some are over 5. But they're narrated slideshows on topics. Lots of topics. Every town in Wayne County has contributed at least a couple, and there's 52 of them altogether. We started broadcasting them 1 a week last April. We just posted number 52 Thursday. They were posted on social media, but they're on a YouTube channel. So if you go to our website, which is look up Bicentennial Minutes, and then there are 52 links, one to each video. So you can look at any one you want multiple times, or share it with your friends. About 3 years ago, we were having a meeting at the Walworth Historical Society. Hanging on the wall, we have a photo quilt of Walworth scenes. One of the people looked over and said, we ought to do one of those for the Bicentennial. Ooh, another idea. So, the guy who actually did the Walworth quilt agreed to do the pictures for this one. And he drove all over Wayne County and took about 600 photos. Our committee sat down and picked 2 from each town. And then we picked 10 to represent the county. For example, apple trees. You know, every town, almost every town, especially the ones along the lake, got lots of apple trees. And then of course we had to have the county courthouse in there, and our float, and then our logo. So it's a real cool quilt. And if you want to see it, when we're done, go upstairs, because that's where it is right now, for about a week. Yes?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, because on April 11th it's going somewhere else with us. Okay, so that sits right there in front of the podium, but we made a poster, 24 by 36, suitable for framing and hanging on your wall. We're going to give one to each historical society in each town and suggest that the town people hang it on their wall, and historical society people can too if they like. And then we're going to sell them to those who would like to have them, and we're going to offer them to the historical societies to sell, and therefore they'll get a little cut of the income. So. Okay, Vanna, I need you again over there.
Okay.
Amber Linson from Walworth is part of the Wayne County Writers Guild, and she said we ought to do a book. And, yeah, that's fine. What do you got in mind? How about memories? So we put out the word, anybody who would like to submit a memory of Wayne County, either growing up here, going to school here, working here, you know, just a weird memory or whatever, submit it. And that 454-page book is the end result with lots of volunteer time involved. It sells for $25 plus tax. And you can buy one from Vanna Davis back there. And they are in the public libraries too, so if you don't want to buy one, you can check out the one from the library and read it. You all know that Wayne County has a whole bunch of murals. Mark DeCracker says there's 50 now. I haven't done the actual count lately, but last I knew there were 40-some, so he's probably right. We have spent the last almost 3 years looking for a suitable spot on Route 104 to have a mural. Now, no offense to Route 31, but 104 is a busier road. More people cross Wayne County on 104. So we've been looking for a spot and not having much luck. Then all of a sudden, about a year ago, Thatcher Chemical Company in Williamson had a fire. And they had to do some remodeling and readjusting after the fire. And they uncovered a 1971 mural on the wall inside. It was inside an office originally.
Behind the wall.
And it was hidden behind a wall. And they said, we want to create a break area here for our employees, and we'd like to restore this mural. So we found out about it. We called Mark DeCracker and said, okay, we can probably help get that done for you. And so they're talking about that. And I'm there, and I said to the plant manager, what would you think about us putting a mural on your front wall that faces 104? Okay. So here's that wall. It's right across from McDonald's. It's 124 feet long and 16 feet high. And we have begun. Last fall we started. And we decided, what did I say about cobblestones? Pretty important. So we have a cobblestone foundation on 6 out of the 7 panels. We're working on the exact details, but basically it's going to be a timeline of Wayne County history. When's it going to be done? Hopefully by this fall. It'll be done when it's done. Rosa and I went to a program at Genesee Country Village last August called the Fiddler's Fair. And several of the performers talked about the context of their music. You know, this was entertainment in the 1800s, in people's living rooms and parlors, and we had barn dances, and at the Grange Hall they would have shows and jams and such. And so they not only played the music, but they talked about it. So we decided that we'd like to have a historic music series. We're going to have Alan Hopkins. I think he might have performed for you one time or other, right?
Well,
2 Erie
yeah.
Canal songs at the Wayne County Fair. We're going to have Kathy McGrath, who's coming to your program 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
April 20th.
April 20th. Do a show at the fair. We have the Remarkable Irresistible Erie program scheduled for October 14th. That is been put together by several folklorists, including George Ward. And it is a fabulous program. It was presented at the New York State Canal Conference a 3 years ago. Just a great show, and that would be part of the series. We're looking at Fiddlers of the Genesee and several other groups to be part of this series. And we just found out yesterday that we got a $5,000 grant from the Bimler Foundation to help pay for this stuff. Big events. Rosa and I are both teachers. The one thing that teachers do very well is we borrow other people's ideas. When the Bicentennial got started, we started looking at different websites. Like I mentioned earlier, we borrowed from Tompkins County the idea of doing the rack cards. Macomb County, Michigan in 2018 did a torch relay where they ran through every town in Macomb County, 200 miles, 200 runners. What a great idea. The only problem is they started and ran the entire 200 miles straight through. That means they ran all night for a couple of nights. Didn't like that idea. So we decided that we were going to have hours over a period of 5 days and run 40 miles a day. That means we could start at 8 o'clock in the morning and be done before dark, pick up the next day where we left off. So that's how we're going to do it. Vanna, I need you to open up that magazine up there. We have,
Vanna 1 and Vanna 2.
yes, we have a route all laid out that will begin and end at the Wayne County Fair. We have run sign up is already started, so if you know somebody who's a runner, they can sign up to run one of those miles. And there is a fee of $22, $20 plus the $2 processing fee. To do that, we're going to have 2 runners for each mile. And we hope that when they run through Newark, that you're all going to be out there. You don't have to have a go sign, but you can. Cheering, waving, whatever. You'll know what the route is on the website, which is
Oh, together.
We're distracted.
Wow.
they fell asleep on me,
Yeah, I
sorry.
guess
Look at the map.
On the website, there will be a chart that tells you approximately what time they're going to be where, so you don't have to stand out there for hours. The other thing that we're asking local people to do is to come up with a escort vehicle. Now in this case, you see the runner out in front of this antique fire truck. We're going to do it the other way around. We're going to have the antique fire truck first, the runner, and then the sheriff's office will be behind them. So when they're running through Newark, that's how that'll be. And it could be an antique car. I'm hoping that we can convince Steve Heald to get his brownie car. I don't think he'll drive it, but he might put it on a trailer and lead it past the Mora Car Company when it comes through Newark, because that would be really cool. And I think the television networks would like to see that. So be thinking about your route, and we also would kind of like the Historians Historical Society people to help us identify all the historic sites that we're running by as they run through Arcadia and Newark. You've all seen the Pomeroy markers. We talked to Pomeroy about creating 16 markers like this. One for Wayne County, one for the town of Arcadia, and all the other towns. Problem we ran into is Pomeroy Foundation requires that we have primary source documents proving every word on the thing. We can't prove the source of the name Arcadia, or Walworth, or even Wayne County, I don't think. We all know that Wayne County is named after General Anthony Wayne, but I can't prove it with a primary source. So we decided to ask the Board of Supervisors to do that, and they agreed. And so we had to put it out to bid. This one is being painted as we speak and will be installed on the 10th of April and unveiled on the 11th of April in front of the courthouse. But it will look very much like that. The other thing we need to have the towns do, and we're talking with the town supervisors, is have theirs installed probably in front of their town halls, but it's up to the towns to decide where to put it. And then schedule a ceremony. And we'd like, obviously, the Newark and Arcadia, town of Arcadia people, to schedule a little dedication ceremony sometime. We are going to begin our celebration on April 11th with a ringing of bells. Hopefully, all the church bells or other, I don't know, there might be
School
some
bells.
school or other places that have a bell, will
Town
ring
halls.
at 10:58 a.m. until 11 a.m., 2 minutes, on April 11th. We're gonna, many of us are gonna be in Lyons that day for the ceremony. And we know that several church bells around Lyons are going to be ringing. And we also have a bell choir that's gonna be ringing their bells there at that time. So the ceremony on April 11th will be a two-part thing. First part, at 10:50, in front of the courthouse, people will gather. There will be the bell ringing, there will be an honor guard and a gun salute. There will be the reading of the proclamation created by the Board of Supervisors. Several state proclamations have been done, and some of those representatives will present them, not read them, because we only need to listen to one. We don't want to put you all to sleep. And then the marker dedication, and a couple of school groups are going to either play, we have a band and a chorus, so there will be some singing and some band playing, music playing of instruments. So, and then at 1:30, over at the Lyons Community Center, we are going to have a program where Ontario County Historian Preston Pierce, Seneca County Historian Walt Gable will speak. You know, we came from those two counties. And then State Historian Devin Lander will speak. You all have heard, I think, by now that Peter Evans passed away on March 11th. We're going to have a short kind of memorial remembrance of Peter. And then the Memories of Wayne County book is dedicated to Larry Ann Evans. We had planned on doing that dedication last fall. We had printing problems with the book. So by the time we got it, it was only 3 days before Christmas. We didn't have time to fit it in. So we're going to do a little ceremony just remembering Larry Ann for all the things that she's done for local history at that event. So, and then we're going to cut the cake. Not the one on the float, but we got a cool cake. When we started talking about the Bicentennial, people said we have to have a fancy dinner dance, you know, just a big ball. Yep, we do. So we are fortunate that in the town of Walworth, there is a very, very nice venue that can accommodate 500 people. It's called the Ballroom at Cary Lake. It has just been remodeled. It is really, really nice. And on May 13th, we're going to have that fancy dinner dance there. Now, I talked about, some of you heard me say something, but we've raised a lot of money. We can't use county money to pay for things like this. We have raised a lot of money. It's going to cost about $90 a person to put this thing on. We're selling tickets for $50. And the reason we can do that is because we have sponsors. And they're picking up the rest of it. And we'll talk about who some of those sponsors are a little bit. But we have John Kuchko, who loves Wayne County, is our keynote speaker. My wife is looking forward to the bacon wrapped scallops that will be part of the hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, they're all coming now.
My wife said she's not moving away from the bacon wrapped scallops, so she probably won't need to eat supper. Fancy, a really nice buffet with a nice variety of food and cake.
Fireworks.
And yes, the evening will end with fireworks. And we have a DJ for dancing. We have a photographer lined up so that if you want to get a portrait taken while you're all dressed up, for a very reasonable price, you will contract with her. We got a whole bunch of other stuff going on too that night. So if you haven't bought your ticket yet, you might want to get around to it because, like I said, we have room for 500. There's only about 150 tickets left. And you can buy your ticket by going online, this QR code or this URL. There's the QR code. If you got a smartphone, you just click there. I picked up, I had to get, a friend of mine says, I don't do computers. Can you get me tickets? I said, sure, I'll write you a check if you get the tickets for me. So I ordered their 2 tickets. It came out to $103 with the service fee. So it's $50 a person plus the service fee.
You can also find the link to it by going to
County200.com.
Very good. That's good.
We are going to be at the Wayne County Fair all week. That is August 14th through the 19th. The torch relay leaves Monday morning, the 14th, and returns Friday afternoon, the 18th. And we invited all 200 runners, all 400 runners, actually because there's 2 now per mile, all 400 runners to come back and lead the Friday night parade for the Wayne County Fair. That should be impressive. That will be running the last mile, probably walking the last mile, but coming into the fair in front of the parade. So, Family Fun Day is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's for kids of all ages. We will have, I think we're going to have 2 reenactment groups, a Civil War group and a Revolutionary War group. We will have people impersonating various historical characters and giving little presentations. We have someone from the Ganondagan Historic Place in Victor doing 3 different presentations. I think one of them is cornhusk doll making and other kinds of things like that. We have a Iroquois storyteller from the Onondaga tribe who was at the Clyde Blockhouse last year. Fabulous storyteller. He's going to do something. We have 3 presentations from Genesee Country Village, little workshops for people, for small groups. It's part of their they outreach for classrooms, so they're going to be there. We've got a Civil War, a singer doing a Civil War songs. It's still a work in progress, so, but it will be a fun day. Kids get in free that day. We're offering a coupon for adults who want to come between the hours of 10 and 2. Entrance fee will be free. Then you turn in your coupon and we'll pay for your admission. So, we can do all this because I mentioned the sponsorships, but we have these, the grants and sponsorships are paying for all this stuff. We have 3 sponsors at the very top there that each gave us $20,000. So, and then it goes down from there, but still a lot, over $140,000 has been raised. And the overall expense of this thing, when we're all said and done, probably going to be in the $200,000 range. So 2/3 to 3/4 of it is private money. We have been very fortunate. when we first started this, we had nothing. I think then we got a $2,000 grant from the Hoffman Foundation. So we had a little bit of seed money. We needed to buy those calendars so that we could get them out in the fall of 2021. So we said, where are we gonna get another couple $1,000s to pay for them? You know, we can't sell them until we have them, so we put out the word, how would you like to be a donor and be part of our 200 club? About 40 people said yes. So we raised some money that way. We're still accepting 200 club members. In fact, I got somebody handed me a $200 check yesterday, said I want to be one. We give our donors Crystal Apple for their $200 donation. And we also have the 315 Club, and the other 115 goes to the Historical Society. All right, I won't spend a lot of time on this. You all know we're named after General Anthony Wayne, and there are 15 Wayne counties in the United States. Rosa did this really cool chart, because really there were only 4 towns ever established here, and then they divided. Sodus and Palmyra in Ontario County, Wolcott and Galen in Seneca County. And this kind of puts it all in perspective. So Walworth is the great-grandchild of Sodus. Of course, counties exist for various services. Here's the Board of Supervisors, and here's one of our early judges. You know that our courthouse used to be in the village square in Lyons, right? In 1823, they built it there. The jail was in the basement. We've heard some horrible stories about how bad that jail was, but it burned, I believe, in 1853 or 4, and they built a new one across the street in 1854, and they put the jail up on the hill and built the sheriff's residence there. So, and that is now, of course, the Wayne County Museum. When we do long programs, we talk about architecture, agriculture, industry, social, political, religious factors. And now Vanna will take over
Oh, Vanna. Thank you, Jean.
and tell you a little bit about some of our Facebook postings.
Thank